Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to this video. Now I know you can see that this is a video that's over 2 hours long. Okay, it's a long time. But if there's one thing that I want you to do, and if there's any video on our YouTube channel that will benefit you the most, it's this video. So whatever you do, please free up 2 hours of your time so that you can watch this video. Right now, Christian and I, we are creating, once again, another updated version of our course, Audiobook Income Academy, because really the only thing that matters to us is having the best freaking product in the world so we can help people get the best freaking results. That's it. That's why we obsess about this so much. And this is one of my favorite lessons that we've created, which is why I want to show it to you guys so you can see the kind of stuff that we're creating now. It's not just publishing how-to.
No.
That's not what it is. And this lesson you can take to help you, achieve the results you want in business. But not just that, your entire freaking life. I don't want to hype it up or talk more about the video. I'd rather just get into it first. Comment when the video is over. Comment your thoughts. Comment throughout the video as well. If anything big hits and you're like, oh shit, drop a comment and share your thoughts. All right, ready to do this? All right, let's go. Hello everyone and welcome to another lesson in week 2. And I find this, or I know that this is going to be one of the most important and impactful lessons in the entire course. This one, as well as lesson 2 in week 1 about confronting yourself, are the two that I am the most excited for everyone to consume. So let's get into it. In this lesson, we'll be covering second order consequences and what they are. We'll be talking about the number one reason why people fail, truly. We'll be talking about the marshmallow test, the AIA way, and then of course the power of time. I'm extremely excited for this. So let's get right into it. Now, the truth is humans have such a horrible understanding of and a relationship with time. And the truth is also that every single goal, achievement, or anything worth having in life can only be achieved with time. And this is something that most people struggle to understand, that time is the number one ingredient in achieving all these big goals that people set for themselves. And when you don't understand this, this causes instant failure because people want to achieve big things without the single most important ingredient. It's like trying to bake a cake without sugar. It's not a cake. It's going to turn out like shit. It's like trying to bake or make a pizza without dough. You just have cheese and sauce.
Look, this right here is what it irks me more than almost anything, because I'll have conversations with people and they'll be talking about business. They say they'll have their goals and then they want to achieve it in 3 months. I want to punch them in the face right there. I hate when people just don't understand that things take time. If something only takes 3 months, you didn't build anything worthy of anything. If this big thing only took 3 months, so many other people would have it. But how many times do we get asked the question, how fast can I make $10,000 per month with publishing? Often.
When you get asked that question, there's a lot more signs that'll show up, but that is an instant sign of you're going to fail. And it's not even you're going to fail. You're going to complete, utterly, embarrassingly fail.
And this is what shows a horrible understanding of time, thinking things can be achieved in just 3 months.
It's society and the human race as a whole that do not understand time. And without time, whatever it is, it will fail. This is, again, a law of the universe that time needs to happen for things to run its course. Okay? This is very important, and this is basically what we've been talking about this entire lesson. So let's continue. And the biggest mistake that people make in business and in life as well, but in business, is short-term thinking. What short-term thinking is exactly is basically just seeking instant gratification. It can be boiled down to that. And to put that in other words as well, it would be someone saying, I want to have a better today at the cost of tomorrow. That is what short-term thinking is in one sentence.
99% of decisions that you make will have that inverse relationship. It's either good now, bad later, or bad now and good later.
Yeah.
For it to be good both now and later is,
It doesn't really exist.
yeah, no, it really
It
doesn't.
doesn't really exist. Except for, we were actually talking about that, except for something like strawberries.
Strawberries, they taste good to eat now, and they're healthy for you later. That's the only one I could find.
Strawberries break the rule of the universe.
It's
with this.
insane. It's actually crazy.
Yeah.
The one thing.
And not to be morbid about this situation, but short-term thinking is the reason, the all caps reason why many people have never achieved anything great. Many people have never achieved anything great. It's because of this short-term thinking mindset. And don't worry, we'll talk about this in great detail, how to overcome it, how to not become a victim to it, all that. But to the people who have achieved greatness of some sort in their life, if you have it, we can both guarantee that it took a long time and a lot of hard work. So think to yourself, what's the best achievement you've ever achieved, whether it's graduating medical school or whatever it is, it took so much time. So greatness can never be achieved with short-term thinking. It's that damn simple. Greatness can never be achieved with short-term thinking. Okay? Now, how do you identify short-term thinking? The rule of thumb is basically, if something is awesome today, that normally means that it's bad for you in the long term, and it's short-term thinking. So, like all these examples here, eating pizza, burgers, and ice cream is amazing today. We would all love to do this, but it's bad for you in the long run. Playing video games and watching Netflix is amazing today, but it's not good for you in the long run. Also, a big misunderstanding that people have about like successful people is that, and let's say people who are in shape, this and that, people think that they don't like these things right here. Like, oh,
They're weird. They were born different. They were born enjoy these things.
The people who are in the best shape in the world, they don't like pizza, burgers, ice cream, so it's easy for them. No, they love it just as much as you do. They've just been trained otherwise, and we'll get into that. And these successful entrepreneurs, they all want to play video games and hang around with friends and just fuck around. All people inherently want to do these things because it feels amazing right now. It's instant gratification. It makes us feel good, okay? And then also things like drinking and smoking. It feels great today. If you, okay, we can have the conversation about smoking cigarettes because most people actually don't enjoy it. But to the smoker, it's the best thing in the world. But it's bad for you in the long run, and that's short-term thinking. Sleeping into noon, oh, it feels so good, but it's bad for you in the long run, and it's short-term thinking. And then spending money instead of investing it into your business feels great right now. Buying a new TV, buying a new Xbox, buying these video games, oh, it feels so good. But it's bad for you in the long run, and it's short-term thinking. So all of these here are examples of wanting to have a better today at the cost of tomorrow. And tomorrow simply just means the future.
All of these better todays are coming at the cost of tomorrow. There is no exception.
Oh, like you're paying for this stuff. You're paying for it, and you're paying for it hard. 2x, 10x, 100x than what you paid for it today. It's just coming in the future. And that's because all of these short-term decisions have amplified and catastrophic consequences coming. Okay? So let's talk about these specific examples of what happens. We're all aware of this, but it's important that we talk about the consequences here. So eating pizza, burgers, and ice cream today leads to, in the future, heart disease and premature death. Do you see how those consequences just 100x'd, went 0 to 100 real fast? Eating these favorite foods turns to heart disease and premature death. Then playing video games and watching Netflix, the result of that is degenerating, I mean literal degenerating of the human race, well, the human body. Degenerating your brain, degenerating your body, degenerating your cells, and wasting precious time. Time is truly the most valuable resource that humans have. And this stuff is wasting it. And again, I have to say this because there's always going to be the devil's advocate oh, I can never play video games and watch Netflix. There is a time and place for everything, but that is not how people behave with these things. People don't think, oh, there's a time and place to eat a burger and have ice cream and sugar. People are consuming it every day. And, oh, there's a time and place for video games and watching Netflix. I can still watch Netflix and be a successful human. Yes, you can, but that's not how you're consuming it. You're not consuming it with that mindset. You're watching Netflix every day. Now, talking to the general person, because most people do a lot of these habits almost on a daily basis, one of them at least. Drinking and smoking. Drinking and smoking is great and all. No, there's nothing great about it because it leads to cancer, liver disease, and premature death. Sleeping into noon, which some people think is not a bad habit, because their argument will be, I'm more productive at night. Man, what the hell are you doing at night that's building your future? Again, we can have that conversation another time. But sleeping to noon, again, is wasting your life away, giving away your precious time, and you're living a reactive life. This is one big thing about waking up. There's waking up when you wake up, and then there's choosing when to wake up. So you're starting your day with a big decision of, I decide when I wake up, I rule my life, I make decisions on my watch. As opposed to waking up without an alarm clock, you're letting your life decide what happens to you. Okay, next thing is spending money and not investing it right now. Look, we would all love to just spend money and not invest it, because investing money is not fun right now. You just have less money with absolutely nothing to show for it. And a year from now, basically nothing to show for it as well, in general, when you invest money. But what it leads to, if you don't do that, if you just spend and never invest, you have a broke life your entire life. Right. There's no way around it unless you're born into wealth, which kind of sucks, to be honest.
Right. When you choose to invest, in the moment you have more money, so it doesn't feel like a bad decision to not invest. I have more money now. I also have more money tomorrow, in the next week, if I don't invest this money. But in the future, people can't even think that far ahead to see what kind of effects that has.
I'm sure we might get into this topic later, but there are some people who literally believe that saving money and investing it doesn't work. I mean, they won't say it up front, but that's what the inner mechanisms and their subconscious believes. It believes that it doesn't work because they've tried saving money for a few months and nothing happened. All they had was a bit more money. So people have this association with saving and investing that it doesn't have an impact. That is not impactful on your life.
Yeah.
And it's truly, it's a sad thing for the person themselves, because they're going to be royally fucked over throughout their entire life if they continue to live by that belief.
Yes.
So the examples that we've given right here, the things that we've said, none of this is groundbreaking information. We all know this to be facts. We don't think about it all the time, which is part of the problem, but we all know this to be true. But then why do people make these bad decisions? These are inherently bad decisions. Every single one of them is a bad decision. Every single one of us knows it. Then why do we do it? And it is because people are constantly seeking instant gratification and want everything now, now, now. And it's the root of all failure, of everything you don't want. Wanting it now is the root of it. Your impatience, your inability to wait and delay things is causing you to have none of it. And it's because people don't understand time and the effects that these decisions have once time comes into play and when time actually happens. Because time will happen. You cannot stop time. The only thing that can stop time in your reality would be your own death. And you should never live a life thinking that you're going to die in the next few years. Never, ever live that way. So with that said, time will happen. And people, I don't know if it's they don't understand it or they ignore it, but time will happen. So start acting like it.
Right. The more people keep doing these things, it just stacks on each other every single day. Eventually, you're going to have to pay for all these things you did. And every day you keep doing it, the day it just gets stronger and stronger. And then eventually, when you're going to pay that quote unquote debt of all the unhealthy food you ate, all the cigarettes you smoked. It's just going to get bigger and bigger to the point where your life is ruined because of it.
You're now 48 years old with 3 kids, and you have to deal with heart disease. And that's now the story of your life when you're 48 years old, is going to the doctor, taking medicines, your family always being worried about you because of the decisions that you made throughout the entirety of your life before.
Because you did a little bit of this every single day.
Yeah.
Probably a lot. And you did it every single day over time.
And also, this is a case of doing these things every day, or maybe not every day, but multiple times a week. Routinely, yes, that's a good word for it. Routinely. And then the effects of those decisions will stack up unbelievably, okay? And we will summarize this in the end and give you kind of the answer and the solution to all this, but hang tight for now. Okay, next is this is something that I'm very passionate about, Christian. That is that social media is the ultimate training for instant gratification. And this is why these traits right here of just bad habits, depression, obesity, instant gratification seekingness it's never been as strong in human history as it is right now. And the reason for it, or a big role in it, is social media. And it is just the number one training for instant gratification. It's just all the time. You can go at your fingertips instantly and receive instant gratification of, oh, that feels good. Oh, I did something. Oh, I get feedback. Oh, just little, it's called dopamine hits. That's a chemical release in your brain. When you go on social media and you see someone like the photo, or you scroll your news feed and you like someone else's photo.
It goes so much deeper than just spending, I just spent a minute on Instagram. It's no big deal. You're training yourself to do this, to, enjoy doing all these things and do it every single day and have no problem with it.
It impacts...
You're expecting these instant gratifications when
Yes.
you get used to getting it on social media all the time.
You become an instant gratification seeker when you use social media all day, every day, which is most people. Now, I have deleted Instagram off of my phone completely. I've only been doing this for 2-3 months now, but it's had an incredible impact. I've deleted Facebook off of my phone. I still have it on my desktop because I need to use it to access the Facebook group. And it has profound effects on your life because of something known as second order consequences, which we'll get into. But it's incredible, and we can have this discussion another day where we can really dive deep into social media. There is a specific book that has been highly recommended to us about social media and the effects of it. It is called The Shallows. I've never read it myself. I want to. Oh, that reminds me. I was going to purchase it from Audible yesterday. That was the book. I need to write that down real quick so I don't forget. But that is a book about social media and
The harmful effects of it.
Yeah, the harmful effects of it, and it'll probably open your eyes. And I'm excited to read it. Okay, so social media is not harmless like you think it is. It is the number one training tool for instant gratification, and instant gratification is the core of not getting everything that you want because you want it now. It's quite the contradiction. When you want everything now, you get none of it. When you don't seek anything now, you get it later. Okay. Now, let's discuss the inverse. Now, inverse relationships and inverses in general is a very fascinating topic, in my opinion. Everything has an inverse. We can make another video talking about this, but this is something I'm still learning a lot about, is inverse relationships. Now, the inverse of short-term thinking is long-term thinking, okay? And everything that we basically said about short-term thinking, the inverse applies to long-term thinking. So how do you identify long-term thinking? Again, rule of thumb is if something kind of sucks today, then it's good for you in the long term, and it's long-term thinking. So things like eating salads and eating healthy food, like truly, they suck. Like, I'm a health conscious person, but eating healthy can oftentimes suck. And then things like reading a book, inherently, it sucks right now. You have to sit, you have to concentrate, you have to not give in to any instant gratification. You're not getting any instant results out of reading a book right now. But in the long run, it's one of the best things you can ever do for yourself, and that's long-term thinking.
Right. People that enjoy reading books, they don't enjoy them because the act of doing so is so awesome. They enjoy it because they know what it leads to in the future.
Exactly.
And they know how they're growing as a person and what they're learning and how their tomorrow is going to be so much better because of it.
Listen,
then they learn to love the process of reading because they know the incredible impact it has or effect that it has.
We get exactly into this. Like, no one is born enjoying sitting alone, just reading text off of a page. No one is inherently born enjoying that. They can be trained to enjoy that. And we'll talk about how to get there, okay? So, of course, there's people who enjoy reading books.
But I think if reading books had the same effect that Netflix had, there's not many people that would read books.
No, they wouldn't. Okay. So next one is going to the gym and exercising. Again, now I can speak on personal experience. This is a really good habit, something that's really good for you. And most people think it sucks, but we love it. We love it. It is a passion. I love going to the gym and exercising. Now, of course, you go through dry spells where sometimes you don't enjoy it as much. But generally speaking, I always love going to the gym and exercising.
But if going to the gym and exercising gave me heart disease and early death, I would not enjoy it.
No, you would not enjoy it.
I'm connecting it with the long-term effect it has.
Again, I don't want to spoil things, so we'll get there. But that's exactly what it is. We have experienced the positive effects and results of going to the gym and exercising. So now we have trained ourselves to love it. And it is a genuine love for it. Okay? Now, going to the gym and exercising, most people think it sucks today, but it's good for you in the long term, really good for you, and that's long-term thinking. Waking up at 5 a.m. sucks right now. Like, it really sucks, but it's good for you in the long run, and it's long-term thinking. Let me just quickly talk about waking up at 5 a.m. and how, generally speaking, it sucks for people. It used to absolutely suck for me. Growing up, I remember I just knew I was not a morning person. Waking up at 5 a.m. on your own clock with your own decision sounds like a super shitty thing. And in the beginning, when we started doing this, it did suck. It was really difficult and shitty. But then after a few weeks, a few months, doing it every single day, and then reaping the rewards, feeling the effects in our lives, you learn to love it. Absolutely love it. Waking up at 5 a.m., I'm now passionate about that. But it's an inherently shitty thing, but you can learn to love it. Okay, enough about that because there's a slide for that later. Next one, investing in your business sucks today. You have less money and absolutely nothing to show for it. You have nothing to show for it. So that's why a lot of people struggle to invest because they don't get anything out of it right now. But it's amazing for you in the long run, and it's long-term thinking. And these decisions right here, these are just 5 examples, but these are some of the best decisions a human being can make. And
Look. If you made all these 5 decisions regularly, you would have you'd have a lot of money, you'd have an incredible body, you would have so much knowledge,
you would live to 100, you'd have so much time.
You would have awesome people in your life just via all the effects that it has down the line.
Listen, decision making and how to truly become like superhuman and this amazing life in every aspect, because there's more to life than just money and business.
It is not complicated.
It's so not complicated. We're going to tell you exactly how to do it. And I love breaking things down like this, but it's truly as simple as this. It's to make good decisions every day, and we'll get there. I'm really getting ahead of myself. Now, these examples here and exactly what they cause tomorrow or down the line is eating salads and healthy food. What that creates in the future is a healthy, energized life, more years and more time. Having energy in your life all the time is, no one could ever ask for anything better.
Eating healthy foods leads to a healthy, energized life. Having a healthy, energized life leads to productivity and awesome time with friends. Productivity and awesome time with friends leads to all these things.
Healthy eating is one of the core things you can do for yourself.
And this is something that I'm seeing now for the first time. I always thought that eating healthy, the only effect it really had was,
on my body fat percentage.
The appearance of my body, and also the longevity of my life. But even I don't think 70 years down the line.
See,
Right?
look at the stacking and amplified consequences of these good actions today and what they create. Everything becomes amplified and grows exponentially. So reading a book gives you knowledge and education, and we'll talk more about that and what that does for you. But what that gives you is literally whatever you want in life. I mean, what I'm saying is it depends what it's about. But when you have education or knowledge on a certain subject, you can get whatever you want within that subject, whether it's money, health, whatever. And we'll talk more about this. Going to the gym and exercising gives you a healthy, fit body, no disease, and a longer life. Who could ever want anything else other than that?
Right. People, like everyone strives to have healthy, fit body, no disease, longer life. And the answer is on the left side of the screen.
Yeah.
But they fail to see that is the connection between the two.
Next, waking up at 5 a.m. gives you more time to achieve your goals. And then investing in now your publishing business will give you wealth and an amazing life. Truly. Again, it's about doing these things consistently.
Over
it's not
time.
once. It's doing these things on a daily basis or multiple times on a weekly basis. Okay?
Routinely basis.
Yes, routinely. That's the best word for this. It should be in your AIA routine. Okay? So these are all examples of long-term thinking, and we know the effects that these decisions have, whether or not we're aware of it. But why do people not make these good decisions? And it's because people don't want to, or they don't know how to, but they don't want to delay gratification. And the truth is, everything you've ever wanted in life is on the other side of delaying gratification, and everything you want versus what you will get is all a battle of instant gratification versus delayed gratification. You can boil it down this simply.
Look, we had an earlier lesson in week 1 talking all about sacrifice. This is that, basically.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same thing.
It's a different point of view on the entire matter. But yes, discipline and sacrifice is delaying your gratification. And as it says here, how you get to the other side and achieve a big goal is by constantly delaying your want to fuck everything up and give in to your desire for instant gratification right now. Like, you just have to relax, see the big picture, understand how this all works, and just delay everything. When you go into something such as publishing and understanding this knowledge and the truth of the world that we live in, that being these things, when you understand that, you can behave differently and you can give yourself the success that you're looking for, because you have to know these things. You have to be aware of them. And now let's quickly talk about what we've been saying, how once you can learn to enjoy long-term thinking and delayed gratification, you have the most powerful weapon in the world. It is the most powerful weapon in the world when these long-term decisions become your norm, they become your default because you enjoy them. Now, you can learn to enjoy all of these things.
And when you're competing against people that are the same short-term instant gratification
So easy
person
to
that
beat
you
them.
were before, right, there's no competition.
It's so easy to beat them because this is 90% of the population is just constant instant gratification, short-term decisions, because they just cannot delay things. Okay? And when you default to long-term decisions, it'll absolutely change your life. So you want to train yourself to enjoy long-term thinking and delayed gratification, and at the same time train yourself to truly hate instant gratification and short-term decisions and short-term thinking. And that can be done basically by doing it and experiencing the results for yourself and being aware that this is what's causing that.
Right, you need to have a direct cause and effect to be able to make the connection.
Yeah. And again, this is another example of awareness and consciousness. What we talked about I think it's in lesson 2, about raising consciousness, is that consciousness, being aware of things, is one of the core elements of supreme intelligence and understanding the world and becoming smart, is being aware of things, okay? Now, as it says here, you must experience the effects of long-term decisions first to be able to enjoy it. And I mean truly enjoy it. For me, the only one here, no, there's two here that I truly enjoy is going to the gym and exercising. I've truly enjoyed that for about 10 years because we started working out when we were 14 years old, when we were freshmen in high school, extremely low self-esteem, nothing going for us, like bottom of the barrel in terms of confidence, self-image, identity, these things. And we started working out. It absolutely changed my life in a matter of months. I mean, it gave me energy in life. Like, I started bench pressing. I was getting stronger. I was getting bigger. I was getting more confident. I started liking more who I was. And it had the most profound life-changing effects. Boom, like that. And we were so lucky to experience that at an early age that we now love the gym and love exercise, and you can never take that away from me. And now waking up at 5 a.m., it's nowhere near that deep into my body as going to the gym is, but I'm starting to make the shift towards truly enjoying it. But there's still, I just got to do it for do it for years, and then you won't be able to not do it.
Now look, I cannot say the same thing about eating healthy food,
Not yet.
and reading books, because if I did, I would do it. It's
Yeah.
that simple. If I actually did it routinely, then it's because I truly, genuinely enjoyed it and
Yeah.
knew the connection between the impact it has long term.
So that's
But I'm
one.
not there yet.
That's one of the big transitions I want to make in my life. So we eat healthy compared to the regular person, which is not saying much. But I definitely want to, it's a fraction as healthy as I would like it to be at on a consistent basis. And then it says here, so the inverse of that, you must really feel the pain of short-term thinking and these short-term decisions to be able to hate it. Once you drink and smoke, you get hangovers. Like, that's oftentimes what makes people not drink is because of hangovers. You have this horrible association with it.
We're so lucky to have hangovers.
Oh,
Without hangovers,
listen, I've literally been saying that since I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
That I'm grateful for hangovers.
Right.
This isn't something I realize now.
man, if not for hangovers, because it gives people the instant cause and then the instant effect. Sorry, it gives people the cause and then the instant effect
Yeah.
of drinking. And that is a hangover tomorrow. Not years down the line, it happens tomorrow.
Luckily.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it also has long-term implications as well, of course.
Yeah, but people don't see those, so that's not really the reason why people drink. That's not the reason why I don't drink. It's because I don't want a hangover. Just honestly. I also know the long-term impact, but really, for the most part, it's because I don't want a hangover tomorrow.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
So that's why I am grateful for that. But yes, this bottom line here is very, very important. You want to enjoy these long-term decisions and wield them as a weapon while experiencing the pain of short-term decisions and then learning to hate them. And then once you have that association with these two decision-making habits, it changes everything. There's no other way to put it. It changes absolutely everything, okay? Now, we've been talking about time, and time is the one variable in business and in life in general that no one seems to understand, yet it is the variable that has the most profound effect on success or any outcome of anything. It has the most profound effect of anything. So what I was saying before essentially is you must make time your friend and not your enemy. In society as a whole, time is viewed as your enemy.
Yeah.
Time is your enemy.
That's going to take 2 years. I don't like that. That's not a good thing.
Or if you do this over time, this bad thing is going to happen. Yeah, then don't do this thing in the now that's going to create the bad thing. So for most people, time is a bad thing. Because if you keep on doing these things, and let time run its course, you're fucked.
Yeah, then it is your enemy.
Then it absolutely is your enemy. Because short-term decisions times time equals a very, very bad reality. While the inverse, long-term decisions times time creates the absolute best reality in the world. If you make these long-term decisions on a routinely basis and time comes into play with it, you have everything good in life. Very, very good things. And the truth is, your life is the sum total of all the decisions that you make. And you always have the option between short-term and long-term decisions. You always have the option. And it's pretty interesting that you can boil down almost every decision to binary, meaning yes or no, this or that,
Good or bad.
good or bad, red or blue, 2 decisions. You can boil everything down to that. And you always have the option of yes or no, good or bad. So I challenge you to this is a bit of an exercise, and it's fucking crazy what it can do for you. Every time you encounter that you have to make a decision, stop for a second. You don't have to do it for everything, but big decisions at least. But try and do it every day and become conscious of this. Become aware of what's going on. Stop, understand, okay, I'm about to make a decision. Create the binary scenario with 2 options, basically a yes or a no, a good or a bad, and make the decision from there. If you see yourself defaulting to the short-term decision, you know where that's going to lead you. We've just told you. And if you can default yourself to the long-term decision, you know where that's going to lead you. Shit like this is really this simple. Boil everything into the here and now, into a binary good or bad. You know what the right answer is. You know what the right choice is. Create a binary scenario and choose the good one on a routinely basis. I'm talking 90 to 100% of the time, Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Just do it Monday to Friday. Always make the yes, the good decision. And then weekends, we're all human beings. We also exist to enjoy things. So Saturday and Sunday, maybe 50% good, 50% bad. Splurge, enjoy it. But Monday to Friday, just be aware of every decision you make and make the good one. You can boil it down to a good and a bad, a right and a wrong for your life.
But when you learn to enjoy making a long-term decision, you're not just like holding out until the weekend. You're always enjoying it.
Yeah, it's in the beginning, you're really relying on self-discipline.
Yes, you are.
You're really relying on self-discipline and willpower is energy, and energy is limited. It's not unlimited, so it cannot go on forever. But once the good decision becomes your default, that becomes the one that you make without even thinking about it because you enjoy it, it's a game fucking over. It's game over. You're going to win at life. And you just have to apply this thinking to every area of your life. Into business especially. Eating is a big one. Exercise, relationships, everything. Look, just habits. Create the binary scenario and choose the good one 90% of the time, Monday to Friday. Weekends, you can enjoy things. But think about it like that. Be aware of every decision that you're making.
Look, this is why in the lesson in week 1 called Confronting Yourself, everyone can make a decision. Are you making a short-term decision? Or are you making a long-term decision? It's up to you, and you are in control. Make the good one over and over and over again, and you will have the life that you want. Anyone that says that you don't have the ability to make the good decision is just fucking lying to yourself because you don't want to take responsibility for it. Mm-hmm. You are in control of every decision you make, and the sum of all your decisions lead to the life that you have.
It's a lot simpler than people make it out to be. They think there's some golden key that other people, or these secrets that people have to how they're turning into superhuman performers, and they have all the success in career, they have the healthiest bodies, they have everything.
Look, yes, people have advantages and disadvantages, and some people have better starting points. But over the course of 50 fucking years of making good decisions over and over, that gets eliminated. You can override that.
It was just decision making. It was just making good decisions multiple times every single day for years. No exceptions, okay? So you always have the decision between short-term and long-term. Think of it as the escalator versus the stairs. Now, it's kind of literal as well, but it's more metaphorically. Take the stairs. So now I'm training myself to, literally in life, always just take the stairs. Oh, but I'm not in the mood. Just take the damn stairs. Primarily when I have to make this decision, I have like luggage in my hand, so it's really annoying. But now I'm becoming conscious. Take the stairs. It's for one, it's healthier, and it's just building the habit of taking the stairs. So this is metaphorical, but also literal as well. Get into the habit of being conscious of this, that there are always two decisions. There aren't a million, there are two. If there are a million, you could boil it down to two. You can.
There's the decision that's easier and better now, and then there's the one that's harder now, but has much better long-term effects.
Now, the marshmallow test or marshmallow experiment. This is actually extremely fascinating. This was an experiment done in the 1970s or 1980s out of Stanford. And the marshmallow test is where they had, I believe, 32 kids, 16 boys, 16 girls. And what the experiment was, it was about instant gratification versus delayed gratification and the effects of it on the rest of your life, actually. So they had these 32 kids and they gave them one marshmallow, but they told them, if you wait 15 minutes without eating or touching the marshmallow, 15 minutes, I'll give you two. Okay? And to no one's really surprise, also because kids are kids, but just in general, most people are not good at delaying gratification. But most of these kids chose the one marshmallow right now. But there was a handful of kids that chose to wait 15 minutes and get the two marshmallows, 15 minutes later. Then they got those, great, and they now have two marshmallows. And in the world of a kid, that's winning in every way. Sugar, heart disease, those things don't exist when you're 5 years old. So they won because they waited the 15 minutes. But the interesting part is, of these 32 kids, after this experiment, they were a part of this experiment for a long time after that. Decades. They did regular follow-ups every 5 or 10 years just to track what happened to every kid based on their decision. And it was a profound situation of the kids that held out and delayed their gratification. They found way more success in every area of life, in career, in finances, in school. They regularly scored higher SAT and ACT scores. They had better relationships. They had a lot more success in every area of life. These 5 or 6 kids, however many it was, they were the peak performers compared to the other group of kids who just chose the one marshmallow. And this is incredibly fascinating and very powerful, and it shows a lot that you don't even have to be aware of this stuff, and you'll see what it leads to. If you can, as a child, learn to delay gratification, holy shit.
You're lucky to have that instilled in you as a young kid, but when you're older, you can be aware and make the decision yourself.
Yeah, you can easily, guys, all of this stuff is, I don't know about easily, it kind of is easily trained into yourself. You could train yourself. This was extremely fascinating, and you want to be the kid who delays their gratification and gets that second marshmallow. Now, this transitions nicely into the conversation of second order consequences. This is an extremely fascinating topic that most people, 99% of people, aren't aware of. This is truly not being aware of it. You really don't know. Everyone knows about first order consequences, and everyone thinks they're so smart because, here's what happens.
When I eat a cheeseburger, it's bad for me and I'll get heart disease.
That's the first order consequence. People think they're so smart because they know the bad effect of it. But it's so much bigger than that, okay? Because actions create reactions, which create reactions, which create more reactions, and it grows exponentially. And if anyone knows how exponential growth looks like, you want to be on the positive side of it and not the negative side of it, or else you're screwed, okay? And this chain reaction, or I should say, and this reaction chain actually goes so far that you and I can't even comprehend it and its relationship, but it exists. It theoretically goes on infinitely, and it truly does. And that's why we say things like, the decision to purchase this course can change your entire existence. It won't change your year, your week, your whatever. Your entire existence, it can change the history of your entire bloodline. I'm dead serious. It can change the history of your generations, your family line. it can have such profound effects that you are completely unaware of.
You buying this course will lead to this thing, will lead to this thing, will lead to this thing. And like you said, we can't even comprehend and see the relationship's going to have.
Yeah. That's why educating people is the most important thing that the human race has to do right now, is to educate everyone. And we will actually get into talking about this. But the second order consequences that purchasing a course like this creates it's truly unbelievable, because you go through lessons like this one, the lessons in week 1, you learn these things, you behave differently in every way, you touch everyone around you. The ripple effect, you can't even begin to understand how big it is. I can't either, okay? So people only think about first order consequences. An example of that is purchasing a brand new TV using credit that's putting you into credit debt, I'm calling it. So you don't have any money, but I want a TV. That's fine. I'll just buy it and then I'll pay some interest on it later, okay?
What's 8% interest? It's fine. It's just a bit more money.
Yes.
That's what they think. It's just a bit more money, and that money is no big deal.
So that's the first order consequence. First of all, you now have to pay for something with money you don't have. And as time goes along, you have to give more money from the money that you don't have. Hey, guys, it's fucked.
The original reason that you use credit is because you didn't have money. Mm-hmm. And because of it, you now have to give more of it. But it's not now, it's later.
See,
it's later. So whenever that time comes, I'll deal with it then, just not now.
So what people will say to themselves is, I'll just make some extra interest payments. It's fine. And that's the first order consequence. Like, okay, we're not even going to talk about the compounding effect of interest on credit. We're not even going to talk about that. But what people don't realize is all the other consequences that this has following that. So you now have no money, you owe money, and it's growing as you go along. Okay, great. You can get out of that. That's not going to end your life. So that's why people make this decision, because they can overcome it. Yes, okay. But the second order consequence of this is, for example, you now have to use the TV. You went into debt to purchase this TV. There is a 0% chance you're not using it. Even if you don't want to use it, you're going out of your way to use it. And now you're wasting your money and your time, because you have to use this damn TV because you bought it. Whether or not you want to, you will be using it. And now you're wasting valuable time. And then the third order consequence could be something like, you're now watching the news. You have to watch something. Okay, so you're just going to click on the news, have that running in the background while you make food, or you're sitting and watch the news because so many people watch the goddamn news. And you are now feeding your brain hot garbage, complete garbage, and that's actually making you dumber. I mean, for lack of a better term, it's making you dumber. And we can have that conversation some other time. But the fourth order consequence after that is these news, along with making you dumber, is also giving you negative thoughts, because everything, the news is just predicated on negative, shocking headlines, one after another, instant gratification, fast, just filling your brain up with negative thoughts. And this gives you a cynical view of the world. Everyone knows cynical people. A lot of cynical people exist, like a lot, by the way. A cynical person is someone who basically thinks negatively about the entire world, the human race. Everyone is just in it for their own greed. Good humans don't exist. There are people who truly believe this, that human default is evil, greed, selfishness. And then people believe the human default is that.
And then try and ask them, do they watch news or follow news on the internet? Do they read newspapers and all that?
They watch 4 to 8 hours every day or some shit like that.
All they see is negative shit going on. But in their real life, I can say in my real life, the amount of negative things I see is so rare and far and in between.
Yeah.
Now, if I watch the news all the time, I'd see freaking everywhere, because they go around the world and they find it and then they show it to everyone.
Because it's about creating shocking headlines, having people watch the news, and that's what works. The instant gratification. And this in itself, like these second order consequences, they create chain effects. There's consequences going in every direction, and it's negative after negative after negative after negative. So the consequences / reactions of having this point of view of the world, I'm sorry, that's detrimental to you if you walk around living this way, having the point of view that the human race as a whole is negative and everyone's just in it for themselves. And when you live this way, you don't confront yourself. You put blame and responsibility everywhere else because that's how you believe the world works. So I'm especially passionate about the detrimental effects of the news. But again, we can talk about that some other time. And then another consequence this can lead to is that making these short-term decisions, getting these instant gratification spikes, this is now your standard mode of operation because you did it, you bought the TV and you liked it. You're like, hell yeah, that was good. Time has not run its course yet. You don't know what's happening from that decision.
You just reinforce the decision to do something stupid because it felt good right away.
Yeah. And you're now making these decisions all the time because it feels good. You like it in the now. So you're constantly living on this high created by short-term decisions, instant gratification. And these consequences go on in a long ripple effect. And then good decisions have the exact opposite effect. I think you see what's going on here, and we'll summarize it soon. But to put this into perspective, spiraling out of control is caused by these profound spikes of good, big spikes of good in a dark time. It is the difference between someone's baseline and then the good that they can achieve from these instant gratification things. And it can be small things like eating ice cream. So if someone is or smoking cigarettes or drinking, let's use drinking alcohol. If someone is going through a bad time in their life, they drink alcohol, it makes them feel a lot better. It makes a big difference. And that is a big, profound spike of good and a big change from what their reality was before, which was something shitty, they got laid off or they broke up in a relationship or whatever. You drink the alcohol, it makes you feel really good, and that is a profound difference to your reality. So it feels amazing, and that decision suddenly becomes that much more addicting, and you are seeking it so strongly because the gratification from it was so big. And when someone experiences this, they will continue to seek that thing that made them feel good. Whatever it is, people always find things to comfort themselves in, whether it's eating. And that's why when you go through a breakup, a lot of people put on a lot of weight because it's how they cope with these dark times, because it's making them feel so good. It's how they escape the bad. Other people resort to smoking, drinking, partying, all these different bad habits, sleeping in, all these different bad habits, and it causes you to spiral out of control because a lot of people, they will find these coping mechanisms in every area of life. So they're going to start eating unhealthy because it makes them feel good, drinking, smoking, not going to the gym, watching Netflix, because all of them, they're just creating a good reality right now. But what they aren't doing is they aren't confronting themselves and facing the truth of the life that they're living, is that it's in a bad place. So instead of confronting themselves, they constantly get away from it and gives themselves those good spikes. And it leads to, it's actually really sad. It's really sad because people aren't aware of what they're doing. And that's why something like seeing counseling or whatever you want to call it can have such massive impacts on people because they're told like about what's going on and what they're doing. They're like, holy shit. But people don't know what's going on. It can spiral out of control until it's too late and your life suddenly turned into a hellhole in 1 year because you just made so many bad decisions to try to escape the truth of what your life is right now. So in the end, what you need to do is confront yourself and face the truth and accept the pain and use it to make good decisions. And instead of spiraling out of control, propel yourself to the next level. That's why some people, when they go through a breakup, some people spiral out. Other people, it will cause a complete life transformation.
It could be a negative feedback loop or a positive feedback loop.
Yes. And it's all based off of the decisions that you make in the here and now. It's an extremely fascinating topic, and I encourage people, I don't encourage you, you have to raise your consciousness and be aware of every decision that you make. Okay? So, bottom line with what we've talked about so far, now this line right here, it's unbelievably important. It is simply just, I want to boil it down to its simplest form. Simply shift from instant gratification and short-term thinking to delayed gratification and long-term thinking and decision making. Make that shift and it will completely change your life forever. End of story. No doubt about it. It's that simple. So you're going to have a better life if you do this. I'm telling you right now. If you don't, I don't know the answers. I don't know how to get to where I want to be. This is
Just
how.
do this over and over.
Break it down to its binary options of short-term and long-term, and make the long-term the big majority of the time compared to the short-term. You're going to have a better life if you do this, so make it a top priority. Don't just make this brush over your head, move on, okay, thanks for the info, guys. Make this a top priority to do.
Like the 4th, 5th, a millionth, 10 millionth, billionth order consequences of this is having whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you imagine when you say.
It's good decisions compiled on top of each other over and over again over years, and then all the effects that those things have. Make this a top priority. This is not something to overlook, okay? We should make some background, maybe take a screenshot of this and make it your background on your desktop or something like that. And this is a message that I really enjoy sharing with the world, and one that I make a massive focus in my life because of the impact that it has, okay? So this whole thing with short-term thinking and instant gratification, people take their short-term thinking, listen, this is the big majority of people in the world. They take their short-term thinking and their need for instant gratification to business as well. And that just becomes a joke when people do that. So these people, they want instant business results. They want instant business results, which doesn't exist. I'm telling you, it doesn't.
Insane.
It doesn't exist. Listen, there are businesses where you can make $1,000 in the first month. That shit is disappearing in a heartbeat after you've done that. That's not instant business results, because in the end, you're losing. So these people, they'll be impatient and constantly seeking results until they get it. So they behave impatiently and in the short term with every decision that they make in their business. And as it says right here, that is the number one cause of failure. It can all be boiled down to this. And this is the same behavior that these people are making everywhere else in life. Everywhere else in life. It's not just in one area. And when they bring it to business, this is why most people fail at business. Because they've been trained their entire life, social media being a big reason of it, to seek gratification now. Whatever it is I'm looking for, the end result that I want, I need it and I want it now. But it's not how it works. Okay? So the inability to think long term is the number one cause of failure in business, both for new people starting out, successful entrepreneurs, and big billion-dollar companies. This is really fascinating because it never ends. You can never make the shift to, okay, I have some success now. Now I can start taking advantage of the instant gratification and make short-term decisions. It never ends. You can never make these short-term decisions on a consistent basis or on a big scale for important decisions. And this has happened many times to massively successful CEOs of big billion-dollar companies. So you would think that they will continue to make these good decisions, and now they can kind of reap the rewards, have some short-term thinking, and live that instant gratification life. But once you start doing that, everything crumbles. And also, again, it's obviously not just one decision. Unless it's a big decision and you make this one decision, it can crumple everything. It's the accumulation of it and doing it routinely. So examples of these billion-dollar companies are ones like Boeing is an interesting one, the airplane manufacturing company. Boeing used to run the entire airplane manufacturing industry. They used to actually be the number one most valued company in the entire world. I don't know what year it was in, but they used to be number one. And then they changed CEOs at one point, and this new CEO came in, changed everything, and basically they changed their mission statement from making the best planes in the world or something along those lines to making the most cost efficient planes in the world, and
Uh-oh.
yeah, and it ruined the
That's what ended it.
It ruined the entire company. So now Airbus has taken over the airplane manufacturing industry. Boeing still exists, but they lost all their competitive advantage because they started making short-term decisions. So in the short term, they made more profit. It was like, hell yeah. But in the long term, you screwed yourself over because someone else came in, is making long-term decisions, is making better airplanes. They now overtook you in the market. And another quick example of this is, I just learned about this one recently. It's a really fascinating one. A pharmaceutical company called Valiant. So what they did, or what the CEO decided to do, was he purchased other pharmaceutical companies, or parts of them at least. And what he would do is he would compile these successful pharmaceutical companies, and then they're making so much money. Their revenue is really high, but so is their expenses. So profit isn't massive, but there's so much money, and they're spending a lot of it. And what they're spending a lot of their money on is R&D, research and development. So this is by far the biggest expense in pharmaceutical companies, where they're researching and developing drugs, medicine,
all these things.
They have scientists in labs, and it's extremely expensive, millions and millions and millions of dollars. So what this guy did was he realized this, and what he wanted to do was create profit for the shareholders, because that would make him super popular. Because when the company makes profit, the shareholders get money and dividends, and the stock price increases, so everyone's happy. So what he did was he basically cut 90% of research and development, and all of those expenses that he got rid of went to the bottom line, went straight to profit, and he made so much money so fast. People thought he was like an expert businessman, CEO, billionaire. I don't know if he was a billionaire, but he made so much money really fast. But this was obviously, anyone with any knowledge of how short-term thinking and long-term thinking works would know that this is a recipe for disaster, because he got rid of R&D. So all innovation and all development within the pharmaceutical company ended. He just had a few scientists working on these new things, trying to find new drugs, new solutions, new medicine. And they didn't make any advancements. So all the other pharmaceutical companies were investing 20, 50, 100 times as much into their research and development. And they came out with better solutions, cheaper medicine, better drugs, and things like that. And Valiant, they basically had a spectacular blow up where the whole thing crumbled. And it's because they were making short-term decisions, just trying to make profit now. And they lost everything good that they had going for them. And it all crumbled because the main core aspect of a successful business is having the best products and services. And they no longer had that. And they completely burnt out. Stock price went down 90%, like overnight, basically. And that's an example of successful billionaire companies fucking it all up by making short-term decisions.
Right. Other examples of big companies doing a similar thing is making decisions in the short term to make, well, that's basically what you said. Make decisions
profit.
in the short term to make profit, to make investors happy, and then investors are happy, so they're reinforced, so they're going to do it again, and then they're going to keep doing it again. And then in the long term, but actually really in a rather short period of time, it comes back to bite them in the face.
Yeah. And they crumble.
Yeah.
They crumple. Because they want the instant gratification of, oh, we're a big company. Let's get the money out of this. Let's wring it for all the cash we can. And it fucks you over every time. And successful entrepreneurs do it, for example, they make money and then they blow it on toys and stupid shit like a mansion and cars. And the second order consequence is they buy a Lamborghini. It's not just going to sit in the driveway. They just had a Toyota before. That can just sit in the driveway. They only use it when they need it. But a Lamborghini, they need to drive it and show it off. And this is leading you down a path of,
they're going to show off the car, and then because of that, they're going to get attention from girls. Then because they get attention from girls, now there's temptations to cheat.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they cheat, and it affects the whole fucking life, and it fucks everything up.
Yes. So it's the number one cause of failure in any area of business if you're just starting out and down the line.
And this Lamborghini just feels good in the short term, so it reinforces more decisions like buying more stupid shit.
Yes.
And then in the long term, that's when you see professional basketball players like, oh my God, I don't want to, don't quote me on the number, but I think it was something like 60%. I think it's more than that of professional basketball players go broke or bankrupt later on in life. Can you believe that they have millions of dollars and they go bankrupt?
Some of them are making millions a month and take home, and they lose it all because they're making stupid short-term decisions. When the career's over, the money isn't coming in anymore, but they don't think that far. But time always happens unless you die and don't plan for death. Man, it's just crazy. Okay, and this topic of instant gratification and short-term thinking, people's inability to think long-term with money is the worst of them all. People are especially horrible at thinking long-term with money. And a lot of it has to do with because everyone is trained to work by the hour and get paid instantly for their work. They work by the hour, they get paid instantly next week. There's a direct correlation between work and cash in my pocket now. And people have done this their whole life, so that's how they think it works. But this is not how you're able to build wealth. You can't build wealth working an hour-by-hour job and getting paid instantly. It's not possible. And that's why there's such a massive failure rate with people getting into entrepreneurship and creating businesses, because they're not getting paid instantly, and they either think they're doing something wrong, I can't do this, I'm going to quit, or they make bad, stupid decisions, which leads to the ultimate failure of the whole thing. And this is part of why people call courses about how to make money scams. People, we've heard a million times, we call it a scam a million times. I think people at this point know that there's nothing scammy about what we teach. And it's because a course or training or education that teaches you how to make money with a business, what's happening is you are paying someone for education, and then you have to do work in return, and you don't get paid instantly. To people, they cannot comprehend that relationship, so that equals the ultimate scam. This shit is the ultimate scam because I'm giving you money, you're making me do work, and I don't have results. Now I'm just $1,000-$2,000 or more dollars short, and I have nothing to show for it. So you're a scammer because of that. But it's because people are expecting to get paid instantly for that investment. And it's complete ludicrous craziness. It's delusion. And these people, they truly can't think properly. They have a lack of education and awareness of how things work in the world. So they'll just call courses a scam. Okay, now maybe some people can guess this, but do you know what the best long-term decision or long-term investment that one can make that wields time and second-order consequences as weapons to achieve your goals and make a lot of money? Pause the video right now. I'm sure a lot of people know the answer. But what is, of all the things we've talked about, what is the best thing you can do that you won't see results right now at all, but down the line, you do this all the time, it's the most impactful thing that you can do. Do you know what it is? Pause the video and guess, or you can put it in the comment section below. What is it? It's education. Education is the core of anything that you want in life. It's the core. It's step number one. It's the first domino, is education. Because just to break it down super simply, we won't talk about this forever, but I'd love to, is that when you're educated, when you've received education, good education, when you're educated, you make better decisions. Plain and simple, it's that simple. You make better decisions. And when you make better decisions, you can make more money, or it's in brackets because you could put anything in there. Whatever it is you want, it can go in there, because when you make better decisions in the field of what you're trying to achieve, you will achieve that. Just make better decisions. It's that damn simple. So making more money comes from better decisions, which comes from good education. And that leads to a better life. It leads to more fun. It leads to more happiness. It bleeds into every part of your life. It leads to everything. Education is the core of everything you've ever wanted in life. And I really want people to understand this. I really, really want people to know this. Never, ever stop educating yourself. And don't educate yourself with random shit. Educate yourself in terms of what you're trying to achieve. And you can be specific about it, or you could just go into make money education as a whole.
Look, for a really long time, I didn't understand the connection, and I didn't agree with it, what so many billionaires and whatever super successful people were saying. They were saying, if there's one thing I would tell you to do to have success, it's just read books. Just read books. And I thought, what the hell are you talking about? I don't want to read books. It doesn't make sense. Like, what books? How does this create like money and the life that I want?
Like, what shitty advice from a billionaire? Thanks, bro. Read books. Okay. Jesus Christ. But it's the ripple effects and all the consequences, all the reactions that reading books creates in your life.
What I want to say is, they were so right. Now I get it. I see it.
And read books means it doesn't have to be a book.
It's also not explained that well. Just saying read books. It's very vague, and you could just read any books, and it doesn't help you.
No,
but if you seek out the right kind of books that will help you make better decisions in the area that you want to improve in your life, then it will have that. Then it is truly the one piece of advice I'll give to people.
Yeah.
And read books can mean no. Read books just means educate yourself.
Yes.
It could be an online course. It could be videos. It could be an audiobook.
Yeah.
Now, for me, books isn't my go-to. Whatever. That's just a personal thing. I love online courses.
Online courses.
What it means is educate yourself in that topic that you want to improve in.
Yes.
And then that's the thing that I would say the one thing you have to do.
Yeah, and everything goes from there. Here's the funny thing about billionaires. I've noticed this. Billionaires, they'd like to give the answer to everything, how they got there. They like to give the answer, but just never explain it.
Yeah.
They'll give the answer, but they'll never explain it. They'll leave it to you to figure out. It's actually really funny. They do it all the time. And this is also why something like education is some of the most profitable businesses that you can get into, because it has such high value. Yeah. Spreading your education with other people is the most valuable trade-off in the world. And then when there's high value, you could charge a lot of money. So like there's training where you pay $25,000-$40,000 to attend a mastermind, where you're just in a room with other people who have this knowledge, this information, this education, and they share it with you. And it is worth every single penny. We invest so much money into education. We actually have a YouTube video I remember we made talking about this super catchy headline.
We just invested $40,000
in
this month. It said in nothing, but we're talking about education.
Yeah,
because you can't see it.
Can't see it, hold it, or anything, and people will call it a scam. And just know that these people are extremely uneducated, and they're actually dumb.
Right, and then you'll have those people that will see someone spend $50,000 to attend a mastermind and think, "What a fucking idiot!"
Yeah.
What an idiot. He just got scammed. He doesn't even see it.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even understand.
Yeah.
And really, it's just that person that has no awareness of how one decision impacts another, and so on.
Yeah. And we actually just got back a few days ago from a mastermind that we attended in Dallas. We're in Mallorca, Spain right now. We flew 12 hours for 2-day mastermind and then flew back instantly. It cost us $5,000 to attend. Plane tickets were like $1,000 each, whatever. So it was like it wasn't a big investment, but it was an investment.
And it's some of the best money I've ever spent.
Ever. And we've done this recurring a lot of times over and over again. And the investment in education is always the best one you can ever make.
And look, at the end of this month, or even at the end of this year, I will have less money because of that decision. But 10 years from now and 40 years from now, I will have 10,000x the amount of money that I have because of the investment I made now.
Yes. Now, for people, it applies to investing in this course as well. Let's say you pay $2,000 or whatever. You probably see at this point right now that might be the best $2,000 you ever spent. Hopefully you see that at this point. If you keep on going forward, and all the things that we've talked about just so far, we're just in week 2, and you've gained things that can change your entire existence and the history of your entire family line. Okay, so I'm hoping you're starting to understand it now. So be an education and knowledge seeker. Never shy away from that. Never change that.
That's the biggest shift we've made this year, and I couldn't be happier about it.
Yeah. So Education is the core of everything. We even can't even comprehend the profound effects of it.
Yeah.
Okay? So now I don't know how long we've been going for now, but we've been talking about time and everything. So with everything we've just talked about, when it comes to publishing, how do I apply what you just told me? We haven't talked about publishing at all yet, but we need to apply it to publishing. Now, the impact of this stuff is applicable to everywhere in your life, but we need to take it back to publishing. So how do we apply this? What you need to do is simply bring long-term thinking to your publishing business. And that's how you have massive success in publishing. You bring long-term thinking. Get rid of the short-term thinking, the short-term decisions, the instant gratification, everything. Get rid of it, because that's what causes failure. When people act in this way, that's what causes failure. Okay? Long-term decisions in publishing and anywhere in that matter, but business specifically. If you don't, it's impossible to succeed without it. Okay? So how do we do that? Let's talk some time and numbers. Money and numbers. The whole lesson is shifting now into publishing. Okay? So publishing is an amazing business to get into, obviously, but publishing is simply not a get-rich-quick scheme. And if you're going into any make money opportunity with the idea that it's going to be a get-rich-quick scheme, you got misled. It's not real. It does not exist. It does not exist.
Well, it does exist where someone can make money in the first 2 weeks.
But yes, but it dies.
Yeah.
But it dies.
There's no successful get-rich-quick scheme that turns out to be a long-term successful business venture.
Listen, you can get rich quick in publishing as well. You can make $10,000 per month in less than a year, in 6 months. But the way you've built it, it's not going to last for the long term. Okay? We always need to have the long term in mind. And also, this is very important. We're speaking from experience. We've been there. We've done the short term, the stupid shit, the shortcuts. We've done that. And it made money fast, but it dies off. Okay? And we've also done the other side of it now. And it doesn't die off. It has a lot more profound effects because the future will come. 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, all these years will come. The only thing that is for certain is that time will happen unless you die, and you can never plan for death. Otherwise, you're being stupid. It will come. And this is the truth that some people brush under the rug and ignore. Okay? So publishing specifically is a long-term, sustainable source of income that thrives on time and numbers as well. And we are building a real business here. This entire course is going to show you how to build a massively profitable publishing business the right way and the real way and the way designed for long-term profitability and income. And the people that understand this and understand everything that's been said in this lesson will have success with ease. Now, it won't always be easy. It takes hard work, but the success will come with ease. It will just happen easily. And people who don't understand this will fail 100% of the time. No questions asked.
Right. They'll try again and they'll fail again. They'll try again and they'll fail again.
You'll fail with publishing, then you'll go into something else stupid and you'll fail with that as well. Guys, there are some people who failed everything. There are some people who succeeded everything. And it's not just pure luck or choice. There's reasons for it. And it's based on the decisions that they're making. Okay? And especially a lot of these people that do fail instantly, they fail, air quotations, they fail without actually doing anything.
Yeah.
They didn't even publish a book and they failed. And they're saying publishing doesn't work, it's not for me.
Right. This is a real story. Someone's saying, I feel like I'm working so hard with this publishing business and it's just not working. He hadn't published a single book. He was spending all this time on keyword research and trying to write an outline.
My God.
But he never published a book, and he was saying how why is this happening to me? Why is it so hard? Why is it not working?
It's pure delusion. And your brain is literally poisoned at this point. It's filled with so much garbage of instant gratification, seeking what you want now, because you've been conditioned that way your entire life and you have to remove from it. Otherwise, you're going to be spiraling here forever, be in that hamster wheel. My goodness, it's insane. Okay. So actually what a lot of this lesson leads up to, other than the incredibly important life lessons, it's kind of explaining why we publish the way we do. Now, we just spent a lot of time explaining the power of time.
Right. People will wonder, why invest that much in a book? Why invest in this here? Why are you doing that? It takes so much time, and it's not going to do much or increase your income this month or next month.
Guys,
why are you doing it? So that whole explanation, now you understand that. Now will make much more sense when we say, do this.
Yes.
Do that.
It all has to do with time. I'm going to say it again. Time will come. You can't avoid it. It will happen. People seem to think it's not going to come. If I just wait around, it suddenly won't happen. The effects and consequences won't come. It's delusion. So this is really about why we publish the way we do, because we publish extremely long-term minded. And that's why we can have so much success now. We didn't always publish this way, but we do now, and it leads to way more success. So from our 3 years of publishing over 100 books, and most of it can be chalked up to testing and learning things. This is what we have learned produces the most income. This being the AIA way. We're about to explain what the AIA way is. And as you can imagine, it's very long-term based.
It's not the most income next month.
No, it's
or
not.
The most income in the first 6 months.
No,
It's not.
no.
Just so you know.
But this is a real commitment to change and impact in your life. So here's quickly what the AIA way is. So it starts with, for one, these are 30,000 word long books, which is about 150 pages, which might not sound like anything crazy, but 150 pages is like a sizable book.
It's a real book. It's not a pamphlet. It's not a little notebook. This is a real ass book.
No.
And I think we, of people that, teach how to publish books and make money with it, I think we teach the longest books out of anyone.
In the nonfiction space?
Absolutely.
Yes. I've never seen anyone who teaches longer books.
Because no one else is so focused on the long term as we are.
Listen, so the first time I learned about publishing in 2016, I went through a course as well, this short, like 2-hour course teaching things. And what we were taught in there and everyone else was 5,000 word books. Why? Because they're cheap to make, and you could put them out quickly, and you could just throw it out there and make money tomorrow without much investment. And that gives you the instant gratification of it.
That it works.
You put it out there and you get results, and it works. So that's good. And that's why this course created a lot of results instantly, get rich quick results, because that's how they did it. But the shit dies off. Now, what you hope is that someone can start that way, get the instant gratification, realize that it works, and then transition to long-term, and then you're good.
Hey, a good thing from it is that it will give them the belief and confidence that, hey, publishing works.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a positive thing that can come from it.
Yes.
Publishing works, and now that's ingrained in them, that's never going to stop them, which is a thing that stops so many people.
But now you need to transition to a long-term business model, long-term decisions, long-term thinking. Because if you're always doing this short-term, you're going to be running in circles. You have to put out new books to keep up your income, because they keep on dying out. And why they keep on dying out? Because no one wants a goddamn 5,000 word book. You're going to leave negative reviews, and people don't buy books with negative reviews. 5,000 words is like a really long blog post inside a book.
Yes.
Okay. Now, 30,000 words is what we have discovered is the sweet spot for a multitude of reasons. And 30,000 words is actually quite uncommon in the nonfiction self-publishing space. Now, traditionally published books, which is like people who spend 2 years writing a book, that's published by a publishing house. That's known as traditional publishing. And they put a lot more time and effort into books, and that's how those books become big and successful and popular, because they're actually really good, and a lot of effort went into them.
Yeah.
Okay? So, and a lot of people in the self-publishing space, which is people who publish from home, people who publish books themselves, they're generally publishing a lot shorter books. Okay? So, like you said, 30,000 words is definitely on the long end.
It's the longest of people that teach nonfiction publishing.
In nonfiction, yes. Now, fiction publishing is a completely different thing. And we've experimented with 5,000. That's what I started with. My first 5 books were that. Then I realized that after a month, my books now had 3 bad reviews, like, okay, and then sales dropped off instantly, like, okay, let me up it to 10,000 words. I did that, better results. I had to invest more money into getting it written, but better results, but it still just wasn't solving the issue at hand. Then moved up to 15,000, then was doing that for a few months. Then, okay, let's move to 20,000, was doing that for a few months. Okay, then 25,000. Then we did 25,000 words for a few months. So every book we put out was always 25,000-ish words. And then we move up to 30,000. We've also experimented with 50,000. But the sweet spot is 30,000 words. And just a few of the reasons why is because these longer books, they solve your reader's problem. And they do it better than any short books. So you might think, okay, well, if it's solving people's problems better at 30,000 words, it's going to do it even better than that at 50,000 words. But in nonfiction, that's not the case. People don't just want the most information possible on a subject. They want the best information in as short amount of time as possible that they can have and apply to their life and get results. Because nonfiction is about nonfiction books. People buy them to solve a problem that they have.
Look, something that's pretty common, you'll see it pretty often, is people leaving bad reviews on books because it was too much fluff and there was too many words trying to say the same thing. Like, if it could be said in less, they would rather have that.
Yeah.
5,000 is not enough to say everything. Neither is 15, 20. 30 is, and 50 could dilute the information and lead to a bad review. So that's, there's a spectrum. It's not just always more is better in this case.
Yes. And there are some topics where 15,000 words would actually be better. But that's generally a very niche topic that doesn't have, that you don't need to talk about for 30,000 words. You could talk about it in a short amount of time and they get what they need out of it. So those do exist in some cases, but generally speaking, 30,000 is the way. So the thing with these longer books is they don't die off. That's the magic in this whole thing. They don't die off. Some people will publish books and they're like, is it consistent forever? I mean, it can be relatively consistent for a long time if you publish the right way, which is the way we're going to teach you. But other people will publish short books and they die off, and it's incredibly frustrating. Like, at this point, you have 50 books, but you're making the same amount you did when you had 20 books because they're dying out, because they're short and they're getting bad reviews, and they're not serving the purpose they're supposed to serve, which is solving your customer's problem. Okay? Now, next, really, there's so many good things about these 30,000 word long books. Next thing is that they are priced higher. You can price them higher because on some platforms you choose your own pricing. But for example, on Audible, as your audiobook, you don't choose your own pricing. It's based on how long the audiobook is. And a 30,000 word long book is going to be about 3 hours, 15 minutes long. And a book between 3 hours and 5 hours is priced at $15. But if it's 2 hours and 59 minutes, if it's under the 3 hour mark, it gets priced at $6. So that's why 25,000 word books were just inefficient, because they would just fall under the 3 hour mark. And then you can see there's a big jump from $6 price point to $15 price point. Okay. So that's on the logistics side of things as well. And then your ebooks and your print books, your print books, you can charge $20, $25, $30 for a print version of your book. When it's this long, big, juicy book that has a lot of value and it's serving its purpose. But you can't charge that for a pamphlet of a book. Okay. And next point is that these longer books are more sought after. Now that's also big. You could price more, which means bigger royalties. You price it higher, you're getting a bigger cut. And these are also more sought after. And this is especially apparent on Audible. Now, most people have Audible accounts, but if you haven't noticed, this is how it works. You get an Audible account and you get 1 credit every month. And this 1 credit equals 1 audiobook in the entire store. And humans aren't stupid. They're stupid in a lot of ways, but not in this way. They know how to make the most out of their credit. And they will spend this 1 credit on longer audiobooks that it's fair to assume have more value because they're longer. That obviously isn't always the case. As opposed to a short 1 hour, 2 hour audiobook, they're spending it on longer audiobooks that are priced higher. So also perceptually, I'm getting more for my money because it costs $15 instead of $6. So when you're making audiobooks, you have to break that 3 hour mark. Okay. So when someone purchases a 3 hour long audiobook, it's priced higher. You make a lot more money per sale, like 3 times as much per sale.
2 to 3.
2 to 3, 2.5. And people are looking and wanting to buy your book a lot more because they're getting more for their money. So like you can't publish audiobooks any other way.
You make much more per sale, and you make many more sales.
It's obvious at
Very
this
obvious.
point.
I don't need to explain why that's great.
Okay, so that's kind of the logistical side of the AIA way. And the other big point of the AIA way is a massive focus on quality and attention to detail. Now, quality is on the book itself, that it's serving its purpose, and attention to detail refers to every step in the publishing process. Okay, so what it means is to focus and have attention to detail, like I said, on every step in the publishing process, and that's bulleted and underlined because it's so important. Just understand this. Listen, every part and everything you're going to learn can be broken out into step 1, step 2, step 3, and doing these steps in a way that's separated from everything else. Again, it's like creating the binary situation. Remove all the noise and just focus on this one step and do this thing and just do it right and do it consistently for every part of your book and reap the rewards later. So don't overlook a single step. The problem that we see a lot, and we're making this such a big priority because, and telling you about it now because people will go through the publishing process. They'll know, okay, I need to make good books and focus on quality, but they want to get out books quickly, so they won't focus on every step. They'll breeze through it. They'll just do it the fastest way possible, and they're severely hurting themselves down the line by just breezing over steps, and you're not getting the most efficiency out of your book.
They're also being reinforced short-term that it's working, so now they're going to start taking shortcuts and cutting corners in any other business they try in every other area of their life.
Second order consequences.
Yeah.
It's really funny. So that becomes their standard mode of operation. So what you need to do is become great at following in the footsteps of others. In this case, it's us right now with publishing, and doing what works. Just do what works. You can see the bottom line right there. That's the punchline to this whole thing. That's the whole punchline, but we need to lead it up to this so that it has the most profound effect and you really understand it. It's not hard for you.
It's obvious, but we need you to agree.
Yes. So, yeah. Like, for example, when someone purchases this course, our job is not done. Our job has just gotten started. You have what you need, but we also need to do what we can to ensure that you actually do what we say and follow the course, because the truth is most people that join a program that's going to teach them how to build a business, the big majority never even takes action. They don't even start. They don't even do step 1. And everything leading up to this so far is doing what we can to make sure that you take action and go through with it. Okay? So back to the publishing side of things. It's a case of 1% here, 1% there, 1% here, 1% there. It can be more like 5% or whatever. All of these different things that might seem irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. For example, good formatting of your description might seem irrelevant. Let me just plop it in there with no formatting, no HTML, everything just in blocks of text. But the truth is that's going to have a profound effect on your book over the long run. So just take however long it takes to format your description, 1 or 2 hours, make it pretty. We're going to show you exactly how to do it, okay?
Here's an analogy that I like. Let's say you have a plane flying from Los Angeles. It's heading towards New York City. But if it is then instead directed 1 degree to the right, don't call me on the exact numbers or whatever. 1 degree to the right, by the time it gets to where it's supposed to be, it'll actually be in Washington, D.C.
It's so far off
that
course.
1% or 1 degree difference makes such a massive difference in the long run. And it's the same case here where a 1% increase in your income this month is like $10, but a 1% increase down the line, a 1% increase of $100 million is $1 million.
Yeah.
So down the line, in the future, these 1% differences here and there add the frick up.
So everything we've talked about leads to this with publishing, because this is a publishing course. We're going to show you how to make the most money from publishing. This is why we say it. The things add up, and things that might seem kind of irrelevant in the now, like these small things, just do it the way we tell you to do it. And in the end, the devil is in the details. The devil is in the details. Take the time, and it makes a massive difference. Now,
But also don't be a perfectionist. Just want to say that real quick.
Yeah, there's two sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But so basically, never take any shortcuts because it will backfire. And publishing, online businesses as a whole, it's basically just exists. It's a big population of people trying to find shortcuts. They're seeking shortcuts. And it's fucking sad. And that's why 99% of people fail with this shit.
It's like, oh, this business, I can actually have results even quicker. So fuck this one. Let's go to that one.
And
instead.
look at all the shortcuts this one has.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't have to learn this. I don't have to learn that. All these things. Let's do that instead.
Yeah.
And then the new shiny object comes up and it's just a never ending cycle.
Yeah. Never take any shortcuts. People do all the time with publishing. For one, they do shorter books. A lot of times they're not aware of what they're doing and the effects it has. That's okay. But even for people that are doing 30,000 word long books, they understand that. They've learned that. Great. Okay, awesome. But they'll still take shortcuts within that because it's their default. They're always seeking the shortest, best gratification, which is getting the book out as fast as possible, making money as fast as possible. So what they'll do is they'll breeze through things. They'll breeze through a bunch of things. And it will backfire. And what's really important, man, I'd love to talk about this next line for a long time, but I won't. It's the whole idea of you have to keep the main thing the main thing. And what that means is to be able to achieve something, whatever it is, there is this one main thing that makes the biggest difference in moving the needle towards where you want to be. That's what's known as the main thing. For example, the main thing for a basketball player is focusing on playing basketball because that's what got them there. But the truth is that with NBA players, they enter that life, they get paid, they're famous, they get sponsorships, they're on TV, all this and that. Their main thing, the thing that got them there of playing basketball, no longer is the main thing. Now they're doing all this other dumb shit that came along with it, and then it all falls apart because the main thing is no longer the main thing. Now, sponsorships are the main thing. And that is what your life is now optimized for. It's just getting the most sponsorships. And now your basketball dies off because that's not what you're focusing on anymore. And that's what got you there. And everything crumbles. This is literally how things crumble. And it's extremely prevalent with professional athletes. And this actually happened to Michael Jordan as well for a period. But him being one of the smartest people, definitely smartest athletes, most successful athletes in human history, he realized this. And he stopped it before it ruined him. So at one point, he started saying no to everything that wasn't playing basketball. He said no to sponsorships. I didn't care how much money you're going to pay me. I'm not doing it because I know where this is leading me. It's already happening. So he saved himself. A lot of people don't. And they go from top of the world to dead broke, worst position they've ever been in their life because they don't keep the main thing the main thing. And this is very valuable information. The main thing in business, so in basketball, it's playing basketball. The main thing in business is your product or service. That's the main thing. So in publishing, your main thing is always focus on the book itself. Okay? So, long story short with all of this, guys, there's a happy ending to this. And that's just do what we say and follow the course. I'll say it again, just do what we say and follow the course, and the results speak for themselves about what happens when people do that. And that's really what this whole thing is. Okay, now let's get into some quick numbers. This won't be too long because this isn't the most important part of this lesson. It's the whole idea of knowing your numbers and how to get to $10,000 a month, because that's what we believe is a good goal for everyone.
I think people would see this headline and be like, oh, this is the good stuff. This is the juicy part. This is the best part.
This is not the good stuff.
No, it's not.
No, this is just the simple stuff, the obvious stuff that we have to state to you.
But to see the flashlight, how to get to 10K a month.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
It's because that's the instant gratification headline. Yeah. They think that's going to get them 10K instantly, but it's this other stuff that matters. Okay, and $10,000 a month or $5,000 a month, which is also full-time income, and it'll absolutely change your life. Whatever it is your goal is, you have to know how to get there. You have to know the numbers behind it. Don't just go into it blindly. You have to know what it takes from a numbers and dollars perspective to get there. Okay, so funny enough, you guys can check this out. This was last year or about a year ago. we did this series on our YouTube channel called The Road to 10K. It was where we started a new publishing business, and we basically wanted to take it from $0 to $10,000 per month as fast as possible. And this is not how we recommend going about it.
No.
This is not how we recommend going about it, because this was all
definitely
short-term, make as much money as possible fast. Now, we weren't able to experience how fast any of it was going to die off, or if it was going to die off at all. It was going to eventually. We weren't able to experience that because we ended up getting our account terminated like 6 months in or 7 months in, and it does not have to do. It's unrelated to the way we were publishing. It's unrelated to that. If you watch our publishing journey, I think we explain it there. So we actually we documented the entire thing. So if you want to see what a road or journey to $10,000 per month can look like, I would recommend watching this series on our YouTube channel. It was called Road to 10K Episode 1. We would put out one episode every month. Episode 1, Episode 2. It's all documented in real time. This is not like looking back on it, here's what happened. This is in real time. Then there's Episode 3, and this is Episode 4, does it say, but that's the thumbnail. And then there's Episode 5, which is Road to 10K Winner. Now, quick backstory. This Road to 10K, we decided to do this as we launched the first version of our publishing course to kind of show people that, look, we can start from zero. We can all start from zero and grow something from zero. We can as well. It's not just because we already have this established publishing business that's doing work. Everyone starts from zero. I want to show you can start from zero and build something life-changing in a short period of time. Now we don't recommend going about it this way.
Yeah,
but just real quick. And everyone in our community was challenged to do this with us. So it was called the Road to 10K Challenge. And the winner in the community, we were going to fly to Bali and hang out with us for a month. And then in month 5, we achieved it and someone else achieved it as well. And this is actually Pierre Luigi. I'm sure you guys have seen him. He's doing obscene amounts from publishing now. I'm talking big numbers.
Yeah, what I want to say is this was absolutely not the smartest move by us, because we didn't think of the second, third, 10th order consequences that came with it. We just thought, okay, if we do this Road to 10K Challenge, have fun with our students, it'll just motivate them to take action and do it, which it did. But what it also did is it motivated them to take shortcuts to reach 10K as fast as possible.
Yeah, but it was more of a point to prove to people. We didn't build this out of let's change our life.
No.
We built it to prove a point.
Yeah. And we were publishing high quality books.
Yes, we were. They were all 30,000 words.
Yeah, but the attention to detail simply can't be there when you're publishing 10 books a month.
Yeah.
So, but that's all part of the learning process. And we're here to say what we learned from it all.
Also, this is unrealistic to expect because we had a lot of money on our hands. And also, this was just a side thing. We just did this publishing business on the side from our main thing, which is our whole training business, helping everyone else do it and coaching and things like that. But we had money on our sides, which helped us. So we invested about $30,000, maybe $28,000, maybe $32,000 to get to this point, which might be like, oh my God, $30,000. What are you guys, nuts? Like, but are you crazy if you don't understand the effect of having a publishing business that's making $10,000 per month based on a $30,000 investment? Now it was actually over $11,000. And it did $11,000 for multiple months in a row. And then
that was just the audiobooks. So it was over 12,000 including everything.
That was just audio.
Well over.
That was just audiobooks. And we were really only focused on audio. And then we lost our publishing account while it was making $11,000 a month for a few months in a row.
That was a little sour, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't take it too harshly. We just moved on. It is what it is. But it's simply to show that this $30,000 investment, it might scare so many people off and be like, whoa, that's bullshit, guys. Like, really, you had to invest $30K to get there that fast? This is an incredibly well invested $30,000, mind you. Okay, that $30,000 investment, after 5 months, it was $10,000 a month. Well, 11. The 6th month, it was $11,000, and then we lost after that. But it was gonna create this massive amount of income every month, consistently-ish for the most part, for a long time. So that $30,000 investment, after a few years,
hundreds of thousands
was
going
to be a $300,000 return. So understand this, but people will like, oh, I'm not going to invest $30,000 to make $10,000 a month. Or
do you want me to frame it differently? How about $30,000 to invest make $300,000 in a few years? Oh, you'll say yes. It's the same thing.
They might still not say yes to it because it's down the line.
Maybe.
But people just can't think out of the frame of 1 to 2 months, and it's detrimental. It's why you aren't where you want to be. Okay, so it was really just to prove a point. Watch that series if you'd like to. But let's move on. Let's look at a few numbers. The numbers we're about to use are extremely conservative. Know that. By the way, from this here, books, 24 books.
Yeah.
I think 24 books. So the numbers we're about to use are extremely conservative. But now let's look at a few numbers. But before we get into looking at numbers, we're going to be talking about averages. And this is very important to understand because some people just don't understand this. When I say a $500 per month average, this is what it looks like. It might be $500 the first month. Next month, it's $250. Then it's $300. Then it goes up to $1,000. Then it might go down to $500, $600, $200, This is what a $500,000 per month average. It's not literally $500 or $505 or $490 every month consistently. That's not how it works. But some people would think that because, I don't know, because a lot of people just have been misled their entire life about how things work. This is what $500 a month looks like. But over the span of a year, 2 years, you break it down,
It's $500
divide by
a month.
12, it's $500 per month. So you can fairly look at averages like this. It's fair to do, but understand that's what it looks like. So if you have one book making just a simple $100 per month, let's say you invested $500 to have a book made and it's making $100 a month, some people will think that's a failure. Some people will think that's a failure of a book, but goddamn, look at the reality of it. After 12 months, that book has made $1,200.
Hey, after 3 months, it is a failure. After 3 months, it is a failure because you didn't make profit.
If you died, then yes. But again, don't plan for death. Okay. Then if you have 3 books that are making $100 a month, now it's $300 a month. Now I'm getting to a point here. If you have 10 books making $100 a month, that's $1,000 a month, and $100 a month per book is not much at all. Generally speaking, that's not a success of a book, but in the grand scheme of things, that is a successful investment for sure.
100%.
Yeah, but that's making $1,000 per month, and $1,000 per month, it's not life-changing, but it is at the same time. It's profound in your life having an extra $1,000 in cash every month. It's big because over a year, that's 12 grand. That's a new car. That's so many different things. But to get to $10,000 a month, you need 100 books. Make it $100 a month. Now, I know plenty of people who got their $10K a month with 100 books. This is not uncommon per se, but it's hamster wheel effect. This took a long time to put out that many books. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of investment in writers and everything. So it takes 100 books, make it $100 a month each to make $10,000 a month, which inherently there's nothing wrong with. You have life-changing amounts of income from your publishing business, but it's not ideal if we want to get to 10K a month. Okay, but clearly, the more books we have, the more we can make. This is very important to understand. Someone will wonder, why am I not making as much as this guy? Well, you have one book, he has 12. That's why you might not be doing anything differently. You just don't have as many books, okay? So the more books we have, the more we can make. And this has a lot to do with the compounding effect. Each book's income compounds on top of each other, and they actually work together as well. And you can read what it says there. I won't read it, but the compounding effect is, who was it that said it? I think
Albert Einstein?
Albert Einstein, yes. I think he said the compounding effect or compounding interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Now, this is not compounding interest, but compounding effect is very powerful. Never overlook it. And it's all because of the variable of time. Okay? So, but now let's look at a book making $500 per month. A book making $500 per month is making, $500 per month, and that's $6,000 over a year. That's nice. That's juicy. That's impactful from one book. If you have 3 books, you're suddenly making $1,500 a month. That's $18,000 over the long run. And 10 books making $500 a month, $5,000 a month, boom, full-time income covered if you could do it consistently. That's $60,000 over a full year. So instead of 50 books, actually let's move on to the next one. To reach $10,000 a month, you need just 20 books as opposed to 100. 20 books as opposed to 100. 150 amount, making $500 a month each, also $10K a month. Clearly, this should be our goal. And then we can even take it a step further to having 10 books making $1,000 a month. Now, $1,000 a month per book, I would say that's a pretty golden objective, or a pretty gold goal to have. Now, you won't achieve that with every book because not everything is guaranteed like that. But if you seek to create books that are set up to generate a lot more per month than these lesser books that are only making $100 a month, your road to 10K is that much easier. I should say, I don't like calling anything easy. It's that much simpler and less work. So clearly what it is here, clearly our goal should be to make as much as we can from each book. Clearly, because you have 10 books making $1,000 a month, that's $120,000 a year in income. What we're saying here is less is more. This is the AIA way, focusing on high income books, and we call them heavy hitters. Some people put out a bunch of short ones. No, that's not efficient at all. That's not the strategy. Now, on the topic of having, not so many books, but making a lot from your publishing business, there's a student of ours, Ricardo. I was blown away. I was very impressed by this. He's 3 books, and he made over $5,000 in one of his first few months. Yes. Right? So clearly it's possible to do $1,000 a month per book. In this case, almost $2,000 per month per book. We didn't even have this experience ourselves. I'm amazed by this. It's to show that it's possible. Yeah. See, here's the funny thing. Today is October 28th. This guy made this post October 27th. He literally made it yesterday. Then as we were going to make this video for everyone, we thought, this slides in perfectly. Let's just put this in the presentation to show you that shit like this is possible. And this should be. So he got to $5,000 a month with just 3 books. It would take him ages if he did it with 30 books. Focus on each book like this and basically just do what we say. So pretty badass move by Ricardo. That's pretty epic. Okay. So all we're trying to say here is clearly our goal should be to make as much as we can from each book. We really need to drill that into your heads, that it's a lot more efficient and effective, and it gets you closer to your goal a lot better than just putting out as many books as you can. Okay? Now, here's the reality of what an actual graph would look like when it comes to investing in a book, because you need to invest in it because we're not writing the books ourselves. You can. That gets rid of the main investment. But we're not in a position to expect everyone to be able to write books themselves. So we hire ghostwriters. And this is what it would actually look like. A 10,000 word book going to cost you about $250 at the end of the day, all said and done. And this is what it actually looks like. First month, you are in the hole $250. And if that book is making $100 a month, month 2, you're still $150 in the hole. Month 3, you're still in the hole. This is why people will say it's a failure, publishing doesn't work, because after 3 months, they still haven't turned a profit. But that's not how this thing works. In month 4, you finally broke even and made a profit. Then after that, it's just all goodies. It's literally all profit after that because the expenses are covered. And then after year 1, you made $850 in profit. And that's not life-changing, but at the same time, it probably also is because of all the second-order consequences that will have in your life, okay? And then let's look at a $30,000 book, which is the heavy hitters that we teach, and they will obviously cost more to have created in terms of writing, narration, everything. So let's say it's about $750, which is a fair ballpark estimate, a little more, a little less, $750. And let's say that book is just making $200 a month. Compared to the 10K, it's again, this is conservative, like we said. It's only making an extra $100 a month, when in reality, it would make a lot bigger difference than that. And month 1, you are $750 in the hole. Holy shit, publishing sucks. Publishing is a scam. I'm losing money. Month 2, $550 in the hole. Month 3, $350. Month 4, you're still $150 in the hole. Then finally in month 5, you break even, you make your first profits of $50. But continue the trend of a book that's performing better because you invested more into it, and the die-off effect is going to be a lot smaller, and it's just doing a lot better. Month 6, $650, $450. At the end of 1 year, you've now made $1,450 in profits, and compare that to $850. We're showing you in direct publishing terms why you need to be thinking long term, because 1 year later will come unless you die, which you're not. So,
and what you have sometimes is two friends, let's say two friends publish a book each at the same time, and then one does a 10K word book and then does a 30K word book. And then when it comes to month 4, they'll get together and compare the results. This guy will say, hey, I've made $50 profit from my 10K word book. And this guy says, oh, I've lost $150.
I'm not even close to breaking even yet.
Yeah, what? I should have just done this. I should have just made the shorter book and made more money now in the next few months instead of thinking down the line. And this is only 12 months where the difference is $850 versus $1450. Not a massive difference. It's almost double, actually. If we bring it down 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the line, it will be 10x. Then that's when you really see the incredibly massive difference. I understand you guys should know this by this point.
Yeah, but yes. So what we're saying is the graphic on the left side is essentially the AIA way, where you focus on one book, it becomes a heavy hitter. It's getting 5-star reviews. You're working with just one writer. You are focused and have attention to detail with every step in the publishing process. The book is super high quality. It's solving your readers' problems. And this book will actually get stronger over time. Now, we'll talk about this in week 3, known as the review feedback loop. When you publish a book and people go through it, they'll leave reviews. And if people leave positive reviews, which they will if it's a good book, that book will gain more social proof. It will actually get stronger over time. There could be an upward curve in a book's performance. While the flip side, when you're creating these shorter books that don't have much attention to detail, aren't solving the problem effectively, they're going to get 1-2-star reviews and it will die out in year 2. We've been there. This is all based on experience. Learn from our mistakes. We're telling you how to do it. So these other books, like you could put out 5,000 word books for the same price as a 30,000 word book, but it's going to be way more work, way more money in the end. These books have less attention to detail. They aren't solving problems. They will die in year 2 because they're getting screwed by the review feedback loop, where it gets 1-star review, then it gets more 1-star reviews, it dies out, people don't buy it, and it dies, it goes to the graveyard.
This is another example of what we talked about way earlier in this lesson, and that is that make time your friend, not your enemy.
Yes.
If you have low quality books, time will be your enemy. Things will get worse over time.
Your publishing business is a ticking time bomb.
Then I understand why you have a bad relationship with time.
Yeah,
absolutely, because things just get worse over time.
Because in a year, your publishing income will be 25% or half of what it is now. But
when you publish high quality books, time will be your friend and you'll learn to love that.
Yes. Always make time your friend in publishing and in every area of your life, because we're here to help educate you, not just about publishing, but everything beyond that as well. So why we make longer books? Because we're telling you, because people question it all the damn time. We publish longer books because longer books make more money. Invest more into your books. It'll be worth it. Trust us. I think you get the point now. But now on to the final and most important part of this lesson. I'm going to breeze through this part because we've covered it the whole time. It's about the power of time. Now, we were just looking at year 1. Now understand there's a year 2, there's a year 3, there's a year 4, there's a year 5. A simple book making $100 a month can make thousands, can make $5,000 in a few years.
And those years will come.
They will come. So you invested $500 and now it made $5,000 a few years later. Any place where you could 10x your money is the best investment ever. You can't do that anywhere really outside of a well-structured business. Okay. So that's 100. Yeah. So here's showing that. Imagine a book making $500 a month. It makes obscene amounts of income. It's just extremely powerful.
That's $30,000 over 5 years.
Yes. Okay. So now to wrap it all up, you must have a profound understanding and awareness that all the money you want to make from publishing will come in the future. The future will come. Don't worry. Just be patient. This eats people up all the time. And it's sad because it's avoidable if we educate you. And that's why we're doing this. So long-term thinking is a recipe for domination.
The recipe.
It's the recipe for, domination. So this is something that we have started to live by now. Understand this, and nothing else will matter. Nothing else will matter. And we are saying this because we see it all the time where someone will come in, try to get rich quick, oftentimes without even putting in the work, which just makes me laugh. And it's sad, delusional, and it's sad, and it's pathetic. And this person wants to get rich quick. They won't even publish a single book, or in whatever business it is, they won't come out with anything. They won't get rich quick. They will leave and say, publishing doesn't work. And it's fucking sad. Excuse my language, but it's really sad, and I won't dwell on that. But again, wrapping it all up, I'm just going to read what it says. If you just do as little as make your money back in year one, it's all worth it. Just have some perspective, for frickety frick
That's
sakes.
what quote unquote failed books do. It takes a whole year for them to make their money back.
Yeah. Which in reality is actually like a success.
It's a massive success.
Yeah, in the grand scheme.
In the grand scheme, really.
In the grand scheme.
You should do much better publishing, and you will.
The goal is
But
not
in the grand scheme. No, it's not.
The goal is not to make your money back in year one. Okay? But in the grand scheme, that's technically a success. So you won't get rich or change your life with one book. And I'll say it again. Perhaps you will. Like one book can absolutely change your life, but it won't be directly from the income. And these strategies won't have massive life-changing impacts with just one book. But when you have 10 books, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Don't expect to be making full-time income with just 3 books, although Ricardo did. Do not expect that. Now, when you go through the publishing process, you'll be putting out 3 books at a time. So that's why he put out 3. And don't worry, you'll learn how to do that. But this is all quite obvious, but still needs to be stated because people don't seem to be able to understand it. So now we're saying it, okay? Get it? Good. And really, in the end, the only way to lose with all this shit is not publishing books, which ends up being, the sad truth is that's the majority of people.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, we have a community of people who has a higher action-taking rate than the normal average population, but still generally.
Still, it's not high enough.
It's not high enough.
And it's not because of good excuses that they have for some whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's all the bullshit that we've talked about throughout this course already.
Everything in week one.
Excuses, things that they...
Week one is the most important week by far, as well as this lesson in the entire course. The rest is just publishing how-to. Mm-hmm. Now, there's simple stuff, and there's also some pretty crazy shit that has big effects on your publishing business that other people don't know about, but we'll get there. And this is the last slide, I promise. Basically, just be a 1%er. I threw that in there. What that means is 99% of the population acts like an idiot, and they do short-term decisions, instant gratification. You wonder why most people are, quote-unquote, unsuccessful in life. I'm talking as a whole. It's because they're part of the 99% acting this way. So be a 1%er. And finally, just go have a look at all the video testimonials at mickelsentwins.com/results and see for yourself that these are people that just did it. These are real humans. There's videos of them talking to you. So go check that out. And any final words?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway that you should take from this lesson, be a long-term thinker.
Yes.
Do not make short-term decisions.
I was hoping you'd say that. Yeah.
Be a long-term thinker. Have the future in mind. The future will come. If you do just that one thing, it will have the second, third order, 10th, infinite order consequences that you'll have whatever you want. I'm not freaking kidding when I say that.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding when I say that. Just do it over and over again over a long enough time, and it will happen.
Now let's create a little bit of inception right here. We're living in it right now. An example of us making long-term decisions. For example, this lesson right here. This lesson would seem relatively unnecessary to have in a publishing course. Talking about time, talking about life lessons, really important things. Relatively, like, you don't need that in there. But Here's what we know. When we include lessons like this, it impacts our students, their community. People get better results. Better results, better product, better service, better everything. Basically, you enter the hyperbolic time chamber that is AIA. You come out a Super Saiyan, and that reflects on the business. Now, putting this together is a lot of hard work, but we're focused on the long term because we know the feedback effect and loop that will have on this AIA training business. Okay, that's why. So we're living it right now, making these long-term decisions. These are decisions that other people aren't making.
Right. When it comes to business, we are two of the best long-term thinkers.
Yes, we just think long-term. And completely honest, it can be extremely frustrating. And you just sit there all day uneasy because I just need to do something to get me results now. And it's difficult, but you have to fight it.
I have it all the time. Sometimes I'm thinking, I'm working harder than I ever have, but I'm not making any more money. But I'm aware and I know exactly why, and I know that's going to come
next year.
I have the instinct, my instinct, just like anyone else, my instinct is to be frustrated. Like, I'm not having the results even though I'm working so much harder right now. But it'll come. Yes. I know it will.
Yeah.
Calm down, Rasmus.
You have to always know. You have to always be aware of what's going on. And this is why our community has a lot of success, because we put in the time and what it takes to deliver the results to people. Now, to wrap up this entire lesson, this has been a bit of a lengthy one, but I hope you enjoyed it. It's an incredibly important one. It has life-changing implications because of the second order consequences of consuming this.
And take this way beyond business. Everything we learned here.
So listen, if you watched this lesson to the end, go to the comment section down below and write, you just have to write one thing really. Write, I am a long-term thinker, and then beneath you can leave comments about what you thought about it. Write, I am a long-term thinker, hit enter twice, and then write a comment about your feedback, what you feel after watching this. Do you understand the implications that this stuff has? Okay, so that's what you need to do, and we will see you in the next video.
See ya.